Right. Let's look at the history of the Internet of Things. There has been, starting from the 1800s, there has been ideas of wanting to make machines that can talk to each other, that can communicate with each other. That idea has been there. And by the 1830s and coming into the 1840s, the telegraphic line was developed. And by the 1900s, to be specific, this is a famous date, on 3rd June 1900, the first radio message, transatlantic radio message, was transmitted. That was the milestone. Okay. So we are looking at the progressive development of technology that helped to bring about this concept of Internet of Things. Different devices that are cooperating and interacting and exchanging information. By the beginning of the 1950s, we had computer technology that came on the scene. We had first generation computers that used vacuum tubes. And these did not have internal running programs like we know computers now, internally stored program. They used switches, in order to make calculations. You combine switches. And they used a lot of vacuum tubes. That was the technology that drove those first generation computers. And by the mid-1950s, going into the late 1950s, we had the development of second generation computers that used transistors. Okay? And then there was downsizing of the machines now because of these small components called transistors and the valves that were able to help with the transmission of information. By the early 1960s, we had the discovery of semiconductors using silicon, and so we had the third generation. And the use of integrated circuits and later super integrated circuits came on the scene. So computer technology also was a factor that contributed to the development of Internet of Things. The World Wide Web became very instrumental in complementing the Internet in making information available to many people all over the world. You and I can have a small space on the World Wide Web, in the form of a web page. We can create our own web page and have information put in there. As of now, we have up to 5 billion websites. That is a colossal amount of information that is available to anyone, anywhere in the world. That's amazing, really amazing. Right. By 1993, global positioning systems, GPS, came on the scene. And we see in that year also the launch of up to 24 satellites in space because of global positioning systems. Now, that was just the beginning of the satellite technology. Because as of now, we have close to more than 3,000 satellites, different satellites, weather satellites, communication satellites, and so on from different countries that are there in space. And by 1999, the term Internet of Things was officially coined, to represent the communication of an amalgamation of different devices having different operating systems and formats, but they are able to communicate. You have things like intelligent cameras, rovers that can speak to each other. The reason why, in fact, you have these devices in constricted spaces. The advantage is that you can have them even in a house. Okay? You can even have them in a house, these small intelligent devices. Those, for example, that could be monitoring your fridge temperature and so on and so forth, and reporting to check if there's any contamination of any food items in the fridge. And you know that even a fridge items can be contaminated there. And an early application of IoT was by the Carnegie Mellon University. Programmers there, they attached some device to fridges, and they could monitor remote Coca-Cola fridges there to check if they were empty or they needed to be replenished. So that helped a lot.